What clinical trials are needed in Germany for a market access?
For drugs, I think the requirements are normally also quite clear. What you need to do is basically you need to compare against what is currently being done, right? That at least from a payer's perspective. Mm-hmm. So from our perspective would be given and defined by the Joint Federal Committee, which is the decision maker in Germany, right? Mm-hmm. They basically would define what is the, it's called appropriate comparator. So it's the comparator in Germany, right? Which is, let's call it the standard treatment in Germany for the patient currently without your therapy, right? Mm-hmm. It's like if you want to buy a new car, you would basically compare the new car against what you currently have, right?
Yeah.
That's more or less the same, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the first thing, right? You need to compare, and in order to compare it, let's say fairly, you would as well need to have a couple of methodological steps, like you would randomize. So if you would be a patient, you would not basically know when you enter, let's say, a physician's office, if you would get the new product or if you get the old kind of product, which is a bit of randomization, comes out of the word random, right? And then also the blinding means you don't know it, right? And then there are a couple of further differentiations. This is the kind of, let's say, standard request for most products.
Okay. And what are you doing in that process?
We bring the payer's perspective, right? So a lot of times the clinical trials are basically and obviously in hands of clinical people, right? They know and understand the mode of action and what can be combined with what and also how to manage clinical trials, which is a very complex procedure as well. But what we basically can bring is the perspective of the payers, right? Which analysis do they want? Which comparator do they want? Which kind of endpoints are accepted? And that's basically what we bring into that kind of game as well, or also quality of life, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Quality of life is important for a patient, for the payer, but a lot of times it's not that important, let's say, for people running clinical trials, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's a bit of a burden sometimes for them. So that's what we bring in that part of the clinical trial.
Okay. You would me kind of help to prepare that whenever I propose the clinical trial to the federal committee, that they really get what they want.
Exactly. It's basically that, right? I mean, that you would not get at least not a surprise, right? When you go submit and want to get, let's say, an adequate or good kind of price for your product, right? You should be prepared that you can deliver what they want.